So today we're going to be looking at how to divide decimals with the whole number. If you made it this far, chances are you're just here to check for your understanding, to see whether you have mastered the skill. If you feel like you need more practice, please go to the longer lesson where I break each question down a little bit slower and go through the steps a little bit more in detail. But if you're ready to go ahead, let's go ahead and start some independent practice. We're going to quickly review the steps and then we're going to jump into some practice questions. Don't forget, at the end, I will leave you 4 practice questions to practice on your own. And again, remember, this is a just practice edition. If you need a longer edition, please go to the lesson. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's quickly review my steps. First, I would have to set up my problem. Not all division problems will be set up. I have to determine which one will be my dividend and which one will be my divisor. Secondly, I bring up my decimal. Once I have my problem set up, I bring my decimal straight up into my quotient. Remember, your quotient is the answer to a division problem. And then lastly, I would divide like normal. Most use DMSB. Again, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Let's go ahead and let's look at some practice questions now. Okay, so let's look at problem number 1. The problem is already set up for us. Of course, this being my dividend, this being my divisor. So now, bring my decimal straight up and let's go ahead and divide. Now we're going to determine how many times 4 goes into 5. 4 goes into 5 one time. 4 times 1 gives me 4. Subtract, and I have 1, and I'm going to bring down my 9. How many times can 4 go into 19? 4 goes into 19 4 times. 4 times 4, that gives me 16. Bring down my 3. I have ran out of numbers. Anytime I have numbers remaining, remember we can no longer leave a remainder, so I'm going to bring down a 0 to continue dividing. How many times can 4 go into 30? 7 times. That gives me 28. 2. Bring down one more 0. How many times can 4 go into 20? 5 times. And we know we're done when we have a 0 at the end. So in this case, this is my answer. Now remember, some decimals will keep going, so you at least go 3 past the decimal. If it doesn't stop on its own, you stop. Let's go ahead, let's look at question number 2. This would be my dividend. And this would be my divisor. Now that I have my problem set up, bring up my decimal, step 2, and then I divide like normal. Divide. How many times can 5 go into 9? 1 time. 5 times 1 is 5. Subtract 4, and then last step, bring down. And then we continue to repeat that same situation. How many times can 5 go into 45? 9 times. That's 45. 0, bring down my 2. 5 cannot go into 2, so I put my 0, 0, bring down my 2. 5 goes into 24. 4 times, that's 20. and then I bring down to 0. And then 5 goes into 40 8 times. And there goes my answer. Let's go ahead. Let's quickly look at number 3 and number 4. Again, dividend, divisor. Now let's go ahead and just set up our problem and divide like normal. Bring up my decimal. 12 does not go into 0, of course. 0 times 12, of course, gives me 0. Bring down my 4. How many times can 12 go into 4? 0 times 4. Bring down my 2. 12 can go into 42. 12, 24, 36, 48. So only 3 times. 36. Subtract. I get 6. Again, I have ran out of numbers, so I'm going to add zeros. We probably only needed 1, but I added some just in case, which we only needed 1 because 12 goes into 60 5 times. And there goes my answer. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's look at our last question, question number 4. It's already set up for us. I'm just going to rewrite it. Bring up my decimal and go ahead and divide. 2 goes into 5 2 times. Bring down my 3. 12 goes into 13 6 times. 12. Bring down my 1. Bring down my 8. 2 goes into 18 9 times. And again, we know we're done because we have my 0. And this is my answer. Now, let's quickly look at some practice questions that you can try independently by yourself. So I want you to pause this screen and practice these 4 questions independently. Let me know how you do.